Hey friends, welcome back to the Called to Lead podcast. So, this is the final episode wrapping up our freedom series because not only is freedom one of our core values with Restore Collective, I think it's ultimately what we are looking for when we start a business in direct sales, whether that's with Restore or any other business, or really just in life in general. And so today's episode is going to be finding the freedom in fulfillment, and whether this fulfillment comes from leaning into who you are or the financial blessings that can come from that, or from setting attainable goals in your business. We're going to dive into the ways that you can find the freedom and fulfillment in your business in today's episode. So let's dive in. Okay, so let's dive right into this episode where I am going to be sharing the 3 ways that you can find fulfillment in your business that ultimately leads to freedom. So if you're like me, you may know exactly why you joined your direct sales business, whether that's Restore Collective, or you may completely not have any idea why you feel led to do something like this, right? And whether you are on the far end of that spectrum of you're just here kind of following along and listening in and kind of leaning into what these feelings of why you might be led to start a business, whether that's with Restore or not. Or if you're like me and you've got a clear goal in mind, whether that is to bring in a financial impact for your family, or whether it's to, replace an income, or to ultimately just find something that lifts you up and lights up your life. You can certainly find that with the business of direct sales. But ultimately, regardless of if you don't know what you're looking for or you know exactly what you're looking for, I'm here to tell you that there's one word to describe it either way. And that, my friends, is fulfillment. And so what I mean by that is even if you have a tangible dollar amount in your mind that you want to make in your business, or even if you have had a previous experience where you found joy and excitement and fulfillment in that business, and so you're looking for that right path to do it again, or whether you have never done anything like this before and you just feel this sense of, can I do this? And is this for me? And ultimately, the answer to all of that is wrapped up in the fulfillment that can come from 3 areas of leaning into the freedom in your business. The first area that we'll talk about is going to be finding your gifts, your blessings, and your ultimate purpose of what you can bring, not just to your own personal business, but to your family, especially if you're a part of a Restore Collective branch. And so what I mean by that is when you join Restore Collective, for example, you can't join direct corporate. So you're joining one of our 10 founding partner mentor branches, or someone who has entrusted someone on that team to welcome them into their family. And so even if you are joining as an advocate, which for us is our affiliate program, where you might not have any goals or desires to build a team, you might either be doing that as an online influencer or just a hostess, or honestly trying it out because maybe you've had a bad experience. Even if you're an advocate with no point in trying, or no purpose or plan to try to build a team, or if you are a partner and maybe you're a little nervous because you've never led a team before and you're wondering if you can do it, I'm here to tell you that you have been given God-given gifts, passions, talents, skill sets, the things that light you up in a unique way that probably don't light me up or aren't going to light up your founding partner mentor or whoever you decide to enroll within. And what's kind of crazy about those things is it can feel normal that those are the things that light you up, but they might not be the same thing that's going to light someone else up. And that's the beautiful aspect of a team and of a family and of the branches that we hope to create with Restore. And so what happens is when you kind of seek out, what are those things that make you you? Is it content creation? Is it lifting up other people by sharing, maybe a morning devotional that spoke to your heart? Is it by being a numbers nerd like me? I've always been that person. Is it by being the cheerleader or the encourager, or the one with high accountability where you're going to hold other people, whether that's your team or your sideline sisters, you're going to hold them accountable to what they say they want to do? Well, my friends, those are all examples of a million different gifts and talents and passions that you already have within you, whether or not you've had experience in network marketing or not. And if you have had experience in network marketing, you have likely developed and built up those muscles for whatever that is. And again, there's going to be facets of the business that you like and facets that you don't like. And so I want to start when we're talking about finding the fulfillment in your God-given gifts and purposes to really have you right now in this moment take an assessment of what are those things that get you excited. Is it numbers? Is it setting goals, which we'll talk about in a minute? Is it just helping other people? Is it being connected in community? Is it just playing in makeup or playing in products? Are you passionate about health and wellness? What is it that gets you excited and gets you out of bed in the morning, especially if it's a little bit different than maybe what your besties or your teamies around you look like? And when you can kind of take inventory and kind of assess what that looks like for yourself, and then even better, take it a step further to assess what those things are like for the people around you if you do lead a team. My friends, that is where true freedom comes in. And that's where the fulfillment, which is again what we're all searching for, especially starts to set in your business. And so the reason is there are a million ways to do this business. It's centered around connections and conversations and systems. And however you create those conversations, whether it's by creating amazing content over on Instagram or TikTok, or whether it's by being like me, I have a million local friends, whether it's with my church or meeting new people with my daughters and their after school activities. If you're that type of person, or maybe you're the type of person who's more of a one-to-one connector, well, that's all it takes. It takes one conversation, one connection for someone to understand your story and what makes you unique. And if you can do it one time, you can do it 100 times, and you can build a business, my friends. And you're going to do it in a different way than someone else who is doing this business looks. So first of all, figuring out the freedom path for you. In our onboarding with our Shine Guide for partners, and even in our Advocate Getting Started Guide, we talk about really three primary paths that you can take in your business. And one is social media. And I can tell you guys, if you listen to this podcast long enough, you know that would not be the path that I would choose to take to grow my business. But that doesn't mean that someone like Raylan Reimer or Brianne Heap, two of our founding partner mentors, Miranda Benson, there are others who are content creation wizards out there, shouldn't build their business on social media or create those conversations and connections through their gift of content creation, right? So whether or not you choose to leverage social media, you've got to kind of think like, is this something that lights me up? It definitely does not light me up. It's not my thing, right? But for me, systems, strategies, numbers, that's the thing that gets me so excited. And so you have to think about like, what is it that lights you up? So because I'm systems minded, I love our second path, which is using our text virtual experience. And so the reason I love that is because it works for everybody. Everybody's got a phone, and everybody's got some friends on their phone where they've got a group text going with their college besties, or again, maybe it is those cheer moms that you've gotten to know sitting on the sidelines or at those all-star competitions, right? Whoever it is, we all have connections that we've already made, and we have what we call a virtual experience microsite, which is basically just a way that you can share the products that we have at your fingertips with whomever on or off social media. Shoot, you can even share it online if you want to. But that text-focused class is something that I know I love because it's a system that anybody can follow. And we will walk you through that in our Shine Guide once you are a partner or advocate. And if you already are one, go back and do it, my friends, because it's a big one. Then last, another thing that I know I personally find fulfillment in is in person. And so whether that is, well, and technically you can translate this online too. So basically what I mean by that is like the educational component. Some of us are natural teachers, and we want to be able to share like, okay, this is how simple and easy it is for me to do my makeup. Or here's a simple skincare routine that has completely transformed my skin and my life. And whatever that is and whatever that looks like for you, you can share that in what we call a beauty lab experience. And you can do it virtually, you can do it in person, you can do it one-to-one, you can do it, I recommend no more than 6 people or however many you can fit around your dining table. But this is a way that you can, first of all, create fulfillment by getting together with your girlfriends or your neighbors or your friends. You can also learn and find fulfillment by being like, oh, I'm not the only one that actually likes this product. This is kind of cool that other people are having fun. And from that, you can build a business that is freedom-based. Now, the best way to do this, and we talk about this in the Shine Guide, is to try them all out, because sometimes you never know. I remember Brianne Heap, one of our founding partner mentors, when she first joined her business, and she was one of my leaders, I remember encouraging her to go live, and she was terrified But she did it anyway. She did it scared. And now, guess what? She is one of those boss babe content creators out there. And so it started with overcoming that fear and just giving something a shot. But guess what? If she never wanted to do another live again, that's okay too. And there's a million different ways to do it. But if you truly want fulfillment and specifically the freedom that comes from leaning into who you were made to be, it's time you take inventory of what lights you up. If you've had past experience, what lit you up in that company or in your leadership or past leadership experience? And then look around you and think, okay, well, what gifts do the other people on my branch have or in the company that you're a part of have? And how can I support them with my God-given gifts so that we can all learn and serve and grow together? And again, that can bring so much fulfillment, even if you never build a team, even if you're just an advocate, and no matter what rank you are, if you are a partner. And so finding freedom and fulfillment in the gifts and the strengths and the skill sets is one of the greatest blessings that you can get from this business. So start thinking about that and start leaning into that and see how that shows up in your business. So the second thing is to find fulfillment in achieving goals for yourself. So I was having a great conversation with one of our founding partner mentors today that came from a conversation with one of her new teamies on setting godly goals in their business and what that actually looks like, especially if there's numbers and metrics and ranking and things that can seem, kind of frivolous. How do you bring that into a business, especially if you are faith forward and you want to do big things in your business, but you want to align with God's plan for your business? And so I'm here to tell you that as a goal getter, I like to say a former achiever. Let's be honest. Sometimes I think I still am a pretty high achieving person, and I think God did make me that way. But whether you're like me or you're scared to set goals, ultimately, there is so much fulfillment that comes from setting a clear objective or path in your business and making it happen, or at least coming close. And so if you do struggle with what that looks like to set goals in your business, or especially what it looks like to set a worthy goal in your business, I'm actually going to share my second podcast ever on this podcast. It was actually called the Dream With Me podcast back in the day, but it's going to help you break down those big goals in your business, whether or not you're used to doing that or not, by number one, deciding what it is that you feel like the Lord wants for you in this business, or what you feel is a desire on your heart, because sometimes it can be a selfish thing. A lot of times we put that story in our head and it really is a God-given desire or number or something, because if we don't ask him for these things or we don't go after them, you never know if it's going to be his plan for you. So don't hold yourself back by not thinking it's a worthy goal and not deciding what path you're going to go for. So decide. The R stands for reverse engineer how to get there. So if you are setting a tangible, for example, income goal or a rank goal by the end of the year or by our Welcome Home event, you're going to want to break that down and start from step one. So for example, when I was chatting with another one of our founding partner mentors, we were talking about, all of the amazing people who've started their business in this soft launch season. And P.S., if you missed it, yes, you can go ahead and enroll or purchase if you desire by getting with one of our FPM branches and getting the password to be able to do so. So we have been blessed to be able to have over 400 partners and advocates join us in business already, which is just insane. But we're so excited for that. And so my advice to anyone who maybe that's you that's listening, and we're so excited if that's the case, is to start from where everybody starts, which is focusing on the momentum incentive. And so that for us is finding your first 5 customers, your first $1,000 in sales, which is going to get you at least 20% commissions back, if not more. So that's at least $200 in your pocket, which more than covers your ticket to Welcome Home if you are thinking about joining us, right? But it also gets you $100 in product credit to be able to use and build your own product for your kit, if that's what you're building up, towards your personal anything. You can share it with someone who you think might love this. We have in our Shine Guide lots of different ways that you can use and share this product credit. But that momentum incentive and getting your first 5 customers and first $1,000 in sales is a fantastic first goal to achieve in your first 3 months of the business. And so you can break that down. If you want to do $1,000 in your first, say, 2 months, that would be $500 in each month. And so you can set a goal for $500 this month and $500 next month. And that, my friends, is reverse engineering. So reverse engineer. E is embrace your numbers. It is so easy to get comparison driven and kind of focus on the person who has a ton of followers, or maybe if you're already in Restore, you can see that people are ranking and growing or building their team already. And that's amazing, but not everybody is starting from the same place. And that's okay. Well, they are actually, just like I said, they're starting from the exact same place, but they're coming into this with experience from another company. They're coming in from connections that they've already had and the confidence. And some of this that I'm talking to you guys about, they may have already figured out. So that means you can too. And I promise this is not a race. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And you're wise to go slow to go fast. So don't look to what other people have achieved or can achieve, and instead focus on your past results or past success, and really focus on taking where you are, maybe multiplying that by a little bit more, like whether that's your sales, like if you sold $100 and you're a profitable partner, you could stretch for maybe 20% more in growth, which would be $120, right? So you can kind of take baby steps to get towards that next goal in your business. Same thing, if you have 10 teamies and you want to grow your team, set a goal for maybe 20% growth in 1 month. And so same thing, if you have 10 teamies, if you are going for 20% growth, 20% of 10 is 2. And so you can actually multiply 1 or 10 times 1.2, and that will give you 12. And that can be your goal for this month. And so that way you're starting right from where you are and you're looking at what is attainable for you. And you're embracing your numbers and meeting yourself right where you are and not trying to get stuck in comparison by, comparing yourself to somebody else. So the A in my DREAM acronym stands for ask for accountability. And so if you're a part of Restore, you already have a fired up branch around you. I can promise you that. You've got a founding partner mentor and likely many other people who are so excited that you're there and they're chasing after these goals together, and they can and will hold you accountable if you just ask. So put it on yourself to ask for that accountability around you and see what happens. And then the last M stands for momentum matters. And so making some momentum in your business and maintaining that momentum is huge. And so I know for us with Restore, of course, we had so many people that have been so excited for months and months and months. And so they were so excited to get, press go and sign up and do it right in soft launch. But it can feel like, oh no, the momentum, where did it go? What can I do now? Well, the same thing that you have been doing for months that had led to the momentum leading up to it. If anything, we're so much closer because we are in pre-order soft launch, which is exciting, and we will be announcing some really fun updates for you on our family call. This is our first field-wide official family call coming up this Tuesday. And so if you're listening to this after the fact, obviously know that we have it every month, a family call. So get with your FPM if you want to know that official calendar. But because we are in pre-order, of course, it's understandable that people feel like there's this lull, but know that you can create momentum and excitement, and you can do that by sharing your story, your heart. You can even share your authenticity and vulnerability. If you're scared, you can say you're scared. All of those things are ways that you can build excitement in your business. And again, it starts from just finding those first 5 customers. Call your mom, call your sister, text your besties, send them that virtual experience text message. It's really, really simple, and you can create and control the momentum more than you think that you can, and continue doing that over and over again. So that DREAM acronym hopefully is going to help you be able to break down the goals in your business that are going to bring you fulfillment. And again, go back and listen to the episode if you want to go hear some OG Heather. It's kind of funny when I listened to a little bit this morning and I'm like, oh, my puppy that's laying back here, Sadie, was a brand new puppy and now she is 3, which is just crazy. Coming up on 4, which is wild. So check out that episode if you want more goodness on goal setting. So setting goals and finding fulfillment from achieving those goals is a way that you can find freedom in your business. Now, last, let's talk about money. And this is finding financial fulfillment, which honestly isn't going to be tied to a dollar amount. I can promise you that, because it is, I know this from my experience, that when I joined my network marketing business, all I ever wanted was to make $2,000 a month. And so I was so excited that I was able to do that in about my first year. It did take a year for me to average that out to make that in my first year. So it does take time even for a goal like that. And so if you've got even bigger goals like making 6 figures or more, no, first of all, it will take time in your business. And you've got to meet yourself where you are. And it doesn't mean that you can't set that goal, But what I'm telling you is that financial number isn't really what you're after. It's the fulfillment and the freedom that's going to come from whatever that can buy. And money, as we know, it cannot buy happiness. Roger actually was just, I won't give too many details, but he was spending time with a very, very, very wealthy man here in the last little bit. And he was just really shocked that there was a lack of purpose and fulfillment in his life, even though he could buy anything and everything that he wanted. And it just really shook him that ultimately, again, like you can have all the money in the world, or you can make $1 million in your business. And if it's not going to be deeply fulfilling for you, it's not going to give you the freedom that you're really looking after. So when it comes to finances and your numbers, know that there's a few ways that money can bring fulfillment, but it's not going to be in the dollar amount. I can tell you that much. It's going to be, first of all, letting go and opening your hands and letting the reins of control for where that money comes from. And I'm telling you, it's one of the hardest things to do, but when you can realize, especially if you're a believer, that all of it, every dime of it is from the Lord. It's a gift from Him. It's a blessing to you. And He can make whatever that amount is, math, however He wants to make it. So there are people, and I mean, shoot, this was me as a traditional business owner. I was selling, $1 million a year in wedding dresses and wasn't able to pay myself $2,000 a month. And that was being the best boutique in Savannah. So you can make a ton of money, or you can, on paper, have a lot of income rolling in, but if you're spending it frivolously, or if you're focusing on debt, or you're kind of hindering yourself from what's possible by sabotaging your spending habits, right? By like Amazoning things and finding ways to control it. For me, y'all know this, it's like house shopping. I love our house. Our house is amazing. Don't know why, but whenever things feel out of control, I'll go house shopping on Zillow. And I know that about myself. So I had to like fast, and do often have to fast from things like that. And so again, if I had $10 million, I'd spend it on a house, right? But that doesn't mean that that's going to bring me fulfillment. And money just makes you more of who you already are. And so whether you make an additional $100, an additional $1,000, six figures, additional $1 million, I want you to really think about like what kind of fulfillment and what kind of freedom is it that money can buy you? Is it for you to give back, or is it for you to get more stuff? And are you being a good steward of what you've already been giving? And how open-handed are you to really letting the Lord abundantly provide you with whatever you need? So a great resource for this is a book called Simple Money, Rich Life. I've actually interviewed Bob and Linda Loddick that wrote the book on the podcast too, so I'll try to dig up that episode and link it as well. But really, truly, that the principles that they talk about will help you break down what it looks like to lead a godly business. And get excited if you are a part of Restore, because we will be rolling out some financial freedom aspects here in the coming months, because this is something that we want to do for you. We want to help you build a profitable business that allows you to make money to be able to fulfill the goals and dreams in your life that don't have anything to do with the frivolous, tangible things. And so that's the first way you can do it, is by just letting go and letting God and releasing that in your business. Second of all, sometimes if you set a goal, and I was actually talking with Miranda, one of our founding partner mentors, about this today. This Cartier watch is kind of a cool story if you haven't heard it before, but I've actually wanted this watch since college. It's been one of those little desires on my heart. I think I do know where it came from. It actually came because my friend Ginger worked at Cartier, and I was like, oh, I just love those watches, and maybe one day I'll be able to afford it. And so I remember telling myself when I opened my boutique that 5 years into opening it, I was going to get myself that watch. Well, guess what? 5 years was 2008, which is when the recession and my business started to tank. So that did not work. Oh, if you're watching this on video, I did thumbs down, and it literally did a thumbs down. That's hilarious. But 2008 wasn't going to get the Cartier. So then I was like, okay, I'll give 5 more years. Well, that was 2013, which is when we had our second child. That was also right in the midst of me kind of going through one of the toughest seasons of my life, like hormonally, with our marriage. There was just a lot, and I've even touched on that here recently. But it was not the time to go spend thousands of dollars on a watch. But enter direct sales. And I remember one time I was doing a power hour training for our bigger overarching team. And because I did have that gift, going back to my gifts and blessings of the numbers and, goal setting and achievement, I was like, you know what? I'm going to help I'm going to set the tone for myself and set the example, and I'm going to teach people how to break down their goals. And so what I did is I challenged everyone on the call to look at the income that they had made over the last 6 months to a year and divide that up, and then set a tangible goal to increase it. So again, I think for me it was like multiplying it by 1.2 to have a 20% increase in my pay. And so what that looks like is, for example, if you're making, we'll just say $1,000, 10 or 20% would be $100 or $200, take your pick. And then for the next 6 months, so for me, whatever the amount was, and I'm not going to say how much the watch was, but anyway, you can Google Cartier tank if you want. But anyways, I set the amount and I realized that it was almost exactly the amount of this Cartier if I were to have a 20% or 15% or whatever it was increase in my commissions. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to go for it. I wrote it on my calendar and I challenged people, whether it was just pedicure money or something for themselves, maybe something for their home, something, not just like paying down debt, something that's special for you, a dream or a desire, maybe a handbag. And I put it on my calendar, and sure enough, my commissions did increase by about that amount because I set my sights on it, and it was motivating to me to be able to work towards that thing. And then I was able to go with my best friend from college who remembers, not Ginger, but another friend who remembers me loving this watch. And it was right after COVID. And I remember we went into the Cartier in the Lenox Mall in Atlanta, and they had like guards out front, and I got my dang Cartier watch and I wear it every day. And it is just something that's really special to me because it's really, ultimately, it's tied to who I am and who the Lord has made me and the blessings I know that can come from leaning into that and the fulfillment that has come. So is it, for me, just about having a fancy watch or, the money that it costs? It's not. It's something so much deeper than that. And so sometimes those tangible things that can seem frivolous can be tied to something so much deeper, and they can bring fulfillment. And the financial impact is what makes that happen. So if you are looking to make a financial impact in your business, and honestly, if you're starting a business, you should be. It should be your priority to make a profit in your business, which is why we have the first rank as profitable partner, and all it is $100 a month, and that pays for your digital business toolkit. And so that's a great goal to set each and every month. And if you do that, you will be profitable in your business. And the best part is you have a starting place to grow from that point forward and to scale from. Because if you can do that, you can show somebody else how to do that. And if you can show others how to do that, you can build volume in your business that can help you grow and rank through our path to partner. And so, my friends, whether you are a Restore partner or not, whether you have big goals or never set goals because they intimidate you, I really hope that you can lean into the freedom that comes from fulfillment in, number one, leaning into who you are, number two, setting clear, attainable goals in your business, and number three, not being scared for some of those goals to be financial related, but just know the number's not what you're going for. It's the fulfillment that can come from setting those things, asking the Lord for them, keeping an open hand and heart to what that looks like, and finding that fulfillment and the freedom that comes from allowing those blessings in your life. And so I hope that this has been a helpful episode. I'm going to wrap us up in prayer. Lord, thank you so much to those that have been faithfully listening and following our journey, even if this is years down the road. It's just been such a blessing to lean into the goodness that's found in your example and that's found in your word. And one word that is found over and over again is freedom. And that is what you offer to us, first of all, in Christ, by giving over every facet of our lives and who you made us to be over to you. We can find freedom. And we're so thankful in you, God, that you sent your son to die for us, to take the place on the cross for all of the shortcomings that we have had, that we will continue to have, and the times where we let ourselves down, we let others down. We know that you have made a way and you've given us freedom above all in the blessing of sending your son for us. And so first of all, we want to thank you for that. Second of all, we want to just thank you for who you've made us to be, even if we don't realize that and we don't see the things that light us up as unique gifts to us and the impact that they can have on others. But also, Lord, just help people realize that if they haven't set goals in their business, that they can, and it's never too late to start, and that there are such a thing as godly, worthy goals when it involves risks and it serves others and it allows you the opportunity to show up in their life. They can set some really cool big goals in their life, and when they achieve them, it can be so fun and so fulfilling. So just help those listening know that and help them know how to do that in their business. And lastly, the finances. You talk about money more than almost any other topic in your word. And so it's important to you. And money is amoral and it's all from you. And so just help those listening, first of all, acknowledge that and keep an open hand and heart to how you do or don't serve them. And if they aren't being good stewards right now or haven't been in the past, help them to know that there's always a point to turn and change that and honor you with the way that they spend their money and the blessings that can come from making money. And money just makes us more of who you've made us to be. And so I just ask that you give them clarity and discernment around money. And we know that money's not the root of all evil, but it's the love of money that is the root of all evil. So just help people to realize that amount of money that they want to make, or that rank or that title, isn't what's going to give them fulfillment. It's allowing you to show up in their life and give them the blessings that can come from trusting you in that. And Lord, just thank you again for the blessing of the experience that you've given to us, whether that's this week or over the years. We're just so thankful of the story that you're writing together for all of us. And so be with everybody on the call. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, guys, thank you so much, and stay tuned for some more goodness to come in the weeks to follow. Yay!